Hey again, it's Gunther the Swordfish, and this is part 3 of my video series where I rank every aesthetic on the Consumer Aesthetic Research Institute website. We still got a long list ahead of us, so let's just begin. Number 53, Bubblegum Bling. Yep, I ranked the McBling Revival higher than the McBling aesthetic itself, because I think this new one is actually better. It's more self-aware than McBling ever was. It's very hyperpop, so it goes all the way. Lots of CGI and bloom. Varying shades of pink and other colors. The future definitely improved McBling, but it's still not the most amazing. Number 52, Blob World. I didn't realize this was actually an aesthetic on its own. I just thought it was an art style made of renders to look like claymation or putty, but a bit more smooth. It still keeps the blob look though, so hence the name. The human figures and faces are ugly, but are supposed to be on purpose. I do enjoy the bright color usage and the trippy destinations. It's fun, it's bizarre, but it can be confusing to look at. Number 51, Graffiti Pop. Yet another hip-hop gone mainstream trend, although more cohesively styled than McBling. It's basically the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It brings you back to a certain era, and you can hear the music playing in your head. Though because of that, this aesthetic gets typecast very hard. I enjoy the urban location, but I dislike the limited use of it. Number 50, Electroclash. Also a type of new wave electro music, it purposely has flat elements that stand out way more than flat design by having non-flat subjects layered above it. Bright pops of color on a white background, it's very bold, and you can hear the type of music that would play in your head as you look at this aesthetic. It's not very high effort, but the simplicity of it stands out. That said, it's a bit too brash. Number 49, Disco Deco. This is one of the oldest aesthetics on the list, other than the revivals of some older ones. This is sort of the famous 60s to 70s poster look. It's Baroque, kind of hippie rock, soul music, very bright, cheerful, colorful. The only message here is fun and love. Big round blobs and angled shapes, very stylized, but being fully illustrated just kind of limits it. Number 48, Diner Kitsch. This one's part of an obsession of 50s culture that happened around the 70s and 80s. Remember Happy Days? Yeah, that. It's hard to tell sometimes if something is mimicking the style or just a normal diner, since diners do exist outside of this style. Anyway, my mom loves this because she was a child of the 50s and 60s, so for me I would see it all the time, and it is nostalgic. I do love the lights and the neon colors, the wacky fonts, the shiny cartoon characters, but it's a bit too derivative, so that knocks it down a bit. Number 47, Gen X Home. So this is the interior design division of aesthetics we'll see later on at higher positions on the list. I enjoy the mix of being neat and clean, but it's also colorful and eye-catching. It's not too minimalistic. It's better than home designs of today, although sometimes there is a bit too much color. That said, this is the style that was on ads for HGTV, and not much else, so I can't rank it much higher. Number 46, Mission School. This is crude pen drawings, pastels, watercolors, rather ugly blob-like human figures, done intentionally that way. Very collage-like. Reminds me of the similar named Mission Hill cartoon, and I'm not sure if that's a coincidence. Although it is kinda ugly, I appreciate the artsy qualities of it. And it's definitely way better than the Allegria art style. 90s cartoons made me nostalgic for this. And I'm still mad that a Kitty Bobo show didn't get picked up, because it's the best thing to come from this. Number 45, Mid-Century Medieval. This is probably the best medieval revival on the list. The fact that there's several on the list kind of surprises me though. Anyway, this was when satanic panic around Dungeons & Dragons started. Progressive rock bands took advantage of that high fantasy interest and they ran with it. Rather than just revving it straight up, this one adds a ton of color and trippiness to the 60s and 70s. A seemingly unlikely combo that works well enough. It reminds me of stuff that my dad would like. Okay, so we're at the halfway point through the list now. It's not really significant, but from here on, any aesthetics listed are in my top half of the rankings. Yay. Number 44, Zen X. This is like the Frutiger Arrow before Frutiger Arrow. Now that I think about it, Frutiger Arrow is like Zen X and Y2K had a baby. It all makes sense now. This one emphasizes things being more natural and organic and even more minimal, the opposite of what the Millennium period was known for. This is seen as more mature and for grown-ups. Lots of green, beige, and white. I enjoy the peaceful and serene feeling it gives. I can just hear the raindrops and the birds chirping, but it's very centered on home design only. Number 43. Urbling. Urban McBling, or rather, the male version of McBling. This one holds a lot more nostalgia for me, even if I didn't like most of the media that it was attached to. It has a certain edginess that McBling just couldn't. It made anything it was on look way cooler and trendier than it actually was, and it made everything appeal to rebellious teens and wannabes in their 30s. Asphalt, hip-hop, graffiti, bright orange, but almost in a very toxic way. Number 42. Jumbled font. Now, I know I said that a look can't be based only on the font. This is probably the highest on the list that a font-based aesthetic will get. It's Memphis design, but in font form, likely combined with another aesthetic too. I think this one just gets higher up because of how creative and colorful it can actually be. It's often multiple fonts in one word for each letter, and it knows it stands out. Number 41. Super flat pop. Colorful vector graphics, that's it. But it is nice looking. It often includes a lot of anime. This one still looks modern to me, or maybe I'm just stuck in the past. Not much else to say about it other than having teenage nostalgia. I love the bright cartoonishness. It reminds me of those Esurance commercials. Number 40. Global Village Coffee House. This one can be a bit controversial, but I always loved it. Even though I hate coffee and coffee houses, go figure. The questionable nature is saying that it's meant to look tribal. Yeah, let's skip that. But it does include a lot of oil pastel artsy vibes, curvy lines, and earth tones. It's not quite natural and organic, but it invokes a very cozy and welcoming feel. It reminds me of jazz. Some old cartoons use this style a bit too. Number 39. Silicon Dreams. Named after Silicon Graphics, the early innovator of 3D animation. It may look very primitive and bizarre and uncanny, and even creepy by modern standards, but that's a lot of the appeal of it. Roly-Poly-Oly and Toy Story stem from stuff like this. It's just a reminder of how far technology has come in only a few short decades to now having ultra-realistic video games. It all started with this. Alright, that was really corny, but anyway, the crude simplicity makes it stand out. Number 38. Indie Sleaze, aka Lady Gaga during her debut. So, not exactly indie, but it gives off that vibe. I would call this post-electroclash. It's like an 80s revival version of hyperpop, mixed up with a bit of YOLO swag and scene imagery. All the cool teens in my school were into this. Lots of electropop music, bright neons, wacky, tacky. You were allowed to be goofy with this style. Number 37. Gen X Soft Club. Again, I'm going to get hated for putting this as low as I did, but it can get kind of bland and boring after a while. I know it's supposed to be more minimal among the contemporaries at the time. It's even in the name, soft. But it still doesn't grab me as much as it feels like it's supposed to. It's kind of like a dark side of Y2K, almost post-apocalyptic. The future does not look bright here. It's time to be mature and get serious. It's one muted color filter over a picture of a human or a building. I do love the cleanliness, edginess, and the grunge and the nostalgia, but there are way better. Number 36. Factory Pomo. This is early 90s dance music. Everything is always in a factory for some reason, and it's almost giving like a steampunk vibe, and I really dig that. It's like the future meets industrial revolution. The font is bold and it stands out, and despite the factory theme, it actually gets kind of colorful and can look very unique. And that's it for part 3 of the series. We got 2 more parts coming up, so stay tuned for part 4 of Gunther ranking every aesthetic on the Consumer Aesthetic Research Institute.